Hey, what's up? It's Matt, and on Friday I uploaded a video to my channel Conjecture called Inventors Killed by Their Inventions. One of the inventors was Marie Curie, killed by her isolating radium, eventually giving her aplastic anemia. And at one point in the video I talked about how part of her legacy was that a standard of measurement was named after her, and it was called the Curie. Or the Curie, I've said it so many times I don't even know how to say it anymore. But in the definition I provided, it said in the last sentence, named after Pierre Curie. And then I wrote, near the bottom of the video, this is an interesting story, click on the cards to learn more. And if you click on the cards, then you found this video, so that makes sense. I'm actually gonna lift this chair up a little bit and... Alright, it doesn't want to go up. So while Marie Curie is doing all her research on radium and the isolation of certain elements, there is a committee, the Radium Standards Committee, that is essentially meeting to decide on a standard for radium, to create one, right, for use in scientific disciplines. And Ernest Rutherford, the chairman of the committee, recognizes something important. The committee is going to want to keep ownership of the standard they eventually create, while Marie Curie will also want that ownership, because she's the leading figure on this in the world, essentially. And I actually didn't realize before reading this that standards could be claimed and owned, but I guess it makes sense if you think about like the way we handle intellectual property. Anyway, this next part I'm not 100% sure about because the source I was using, which I'll put in the description by the way, didn't make it super clear, but this is what I think happened. Ernest Rutherford recognizes that Curie wants ownership and the committee wants ownership. So he goes, I have an idea, let's call it the Curie, the standard, but we'll give the committee ownership. But she'll be okay because it's called the Curie. And as far as I can tell, that was how it worked. And so that was the agreed upon thing. So it was going to be called the Curie, then they had to decide how much one Curie would be. So Marie Curie wanted a Curie to be the amount of radon equivalent to 1 gram of radium. However, the rest of the committee essentially wanted it to be the radon equivalent to 10 to the negative 8th grams of radium. And Marie Curie initially agreed to this, but then she came back later and said, you know what, I don't want my name attached to such a small amount, right? So I'm not for this anymore. And then Ernest Rutherford was all, okay, well, we need Curie on board with this, so let's just follow what she wants, right? Let's just do the amount of radon equivalent to 1 gram. And that's the amount the committee eventually settled on. However, in explaining it to the outside world and to the rest of the committee, Ernest Rutherford said it would be in honor of Pierre. And the reason he did that is because the committee was already kind of pissed about Marie getting her way and that it would be 1 gram of radium and not 10 to the negative 8th grams. And they would have just been really, really pissed if it had also been named after her and she'd gotten her way. So Ernest Rutherford was basically telling them, no, we're gonna name this after her late husband. And that was more palatable to them. And as I read this, I was wondering, well, couldn't Marie Curie why did they need her in this process? Why couldn't they have just gone ahead, called it something else, and made it the amount of radon equivalent to 10 to the negative 8th grams of radium? And I think this is where the whole naming and ownership thing comes in. I think if Marie Curie took her name off it, then she was going to try to own it, and Ernest Rutherford and the committee really didn't want that. That's not explicitly stated in the article, but that's my understanding. So super long story short, they needed the Curie name so that the committee could keep ownership of it, and Madame Curie wouldn't give her name to the standard unless it was the amount of radon equivalent to 1 gram of radium. However, Ernest Rutherford, the committee chair, knew the committee would be kind of pissed about Marie Curie getting her way twice in the name and the amount, so he was saying, no, it's not really named after Marie Curie, it's named after her late husband, Pierre. And then the committee was all, alright, that's better. Frankly, whom it was named after today is really a question of whom you ask. Some people say Pierre, some people say Marie, some people say both. I don't think anyone says neither. So that's the story behind that. Back to the original video that I published on Friday, there were 5 inventors and inventions, right? I was actually going to do a 6th one and put it at the end and have that on screen while the end cards were flashing, like subscribe, next video, whatever. But I wound up publishing the video so much later that I wanted to make a video saying, hey, this is where I've been, instead of that. So I'm actually just going to play the edited footage of this 6th person, and it's a little fast-paced because I was trying to do it in 20 seconds for the end cards, but I hope you still enjoy. Here you go. One last bonus one, Jimi Heselden didn't invent the thing that killed him, but owned the company that made it. In 2010, he bought Segway Incorporated, and later that year died from a Segway accident. He fell 80 feet off a cliff into a river, and the coroner's report read that he had suffered multiple blunt force injuries of the chest and spine consistent with a fall whilst riding a gyro bike. He was actually a well-known philanthropist, and his estate was worth £340 million at the time of his death, so at least his family was cared for. Whew, I'm out of breath. Bye. Andrews spent this final hour urging passengers to get in the Titanic's lifeboats and get out of there, and the legend goes that after that, he spent the rest of the time... What the heck is this? Okay,